Hey Tribe, it's Stephanie Dickson of the Wedge TV, your weekly dose of inspiration, knowledge, and action. Do you want to scale your business up? Well, maybe progressive partnerships is the answer. As you know, at the Wedge, we're all about action, action, action. And today's guest will give you actionable strategies on how you can leverage and scale your business through partnerships. Callum Laing has started, built, bought, and sold half a dozen businesses in a range of industries across 2 continents. Today, Callum shares his expert on building the right network for your business through a key person of influence program and also as a partner of the Unity Group, a company that focuses on helping small businesses raise their valuation through mergers and acquisitions. Callum, thanks for joining us on the Wedge TV today.
It's a pleasure.
So let's get started with how you really got onto the entrepreneurial road and why partnerships was important to your journey.
Yeah, so it wasn't some master strategy. I was just hustling as a kid for extra pocket money, which I guess is probably what I'm still doing. And started off doing little ventures as a kid. Like I had a little car washing business and making ice cream for local bars and restaurants, and it's just kind of evolved from there. The reason I really kind of started to focus on partnerships specifically was in order to grow your business, you need resources, and I never had resources. I was always underfunded, and so kind of just through having no other option, I found that the best way to scale was to partner with other people that already had distribution or stronger brands or better products, and failed horribly. Just consistently had horrible partnerships until I realized that the one commonality was me. So I then kind of had to start adapting and learning how partnerships worked and what other people were looking for and how you could create value for others, and it's kind of grown from there.
So it was through your own experience, and I like the fact that you're so open about your screw-ups.
There's a lot of them.
So in your book you talk about your mentor and how he introduced you to the illusion of limited resources. So can you walk us through that?
Yeah, so this was a gentleman called Roger Hamilton, who very smart entrepreneur, had lots of great ideas, and he introduced me to this concept. And basically the idea is that we constrain ourselves a lot with thinking that there's not enough good clients out there's not enough money, there's not enough great employees, and actually it is an illusion. There's more smart people on the planet that you can connect with. There's more money today than there's ever been, and so if you get out of this idea that those limits are real, and if you start thinking that they're just an illusion and that somebody today has woken up with an abundance of what you need, it just becomes, how do you partner with them? How do you get their resources onto your balance sheet? And that concept was a real eye-opener for me, but it was also really frustrating, because once you acknowledge that there's all these resources out there, that's actually even more frustrating than assuming that they don't exist. And so I really then had to learn how to do partnerships and learn how to exchange value so that I could start to benefit from this.
So I'd like to understand what in your definition is a progressive partnership, and why is it important particularly for small businesses and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so I think one of the challenges that entrepreneurs have is we understand inherently that partnerships can transform our business. Like if we could partner with MasterCard and David Beckham, then that would just transform the business. And the challenge is that most of us try and do those partnerships straight away. So we email MasterCard, and funnily enough, we don't get a response. And so progressive partnerships is really about acknowledging that the world works in a different way. You need to build credibility, and you need to scale up before those big guys will ever talk to you. So for small businesses, it's about doing lots of little deals and just leveraging off each deal. So we have a concept called the value ladder, and basically you just kind of bounce up the value ladder. You keep doing deals that, even if they're not fantastic deals for you right now, it doesn't really matter, because you're going to progress that onto the next deal. but you have to kind of do it in a step motion. You can't just go straight to the top, unfortunately.
Yeah, such a shame.
Yeah.
It's like I just can't get a six-pack overnight. Everything takes work. So I think that's a nice analogy of, like knowing where to step, and then eventually, you'll be able to get to the MasterCards and the bigger ones.
Yeah. In fact, if you do it right, they come to you.
Ah, yes, even better.
Yes.
And so what do they really look like in action? So, I mean, how can people start doing them today?
Yeah, so one of the examples I use a lot is if you're building communities and networking events. Now, obviously, you've got the Wedge is a great community. So I learned this through building a company called Networking for Success, and it was how you go out, how you build that community. And I started just by doing deals that people couldn't say no to. So I would give away free sponsorships, I would give away memberships, I would give away anything I could to start to build some momentum. And once you get that momentum, once you get that credibility from brands that are bigger than yours, then the whole thing starts to build, and it's only when you start to create attraction, it's only when those big companies see that it's more risky to not be involved with you than to be involved with you, then you can really start to have the great conversations about signing up proper joint ventureships and programs that actually generate real tangible revenue. And actually, even though I tend to, in the book Progressive Partnerships, I talk about how you can start from nothing and leverage this up. But we do this today in our private equity firm, so we do this with companies, and exactly the same model, but kind of with many more noughts behind it.
Mm. And so this idea of credibility, so obviously you talk a fair bit about this and it holds a lot of weight in this partnership realm. How can, what's the credibility paradox, and how can we really gain credibility in this situation?
Yeah, so I fundamentally believe that the credibility is just one of the fundamental pieces of business. If people don't trust you, then they're not going to do business with you. And credibility is all about trust. So the credibility paradox is that if you've got lots of great partners around you, then people will trust you more. Unfortunately, it's really difficult to get lots of great partners if they don't trust you to start with. And so that's where this idea of progressive partnerships comes from. You start to build up slowly, or relatively quickly, but you start in a level that goes up. And once you get that, it becomes very, very, it sort of becomes self-fulfilling. Like the more partners work with you. As humans, we take lots of shortcuts, and social proof is one of the biggest shortcuts that we all jump to. So if other people are working with you, then I'll assume that they've already done due diligence on you, that you must be good. And it's a nice little shortcut which saves me having to think. So IBM exploited this brilliantly in the 50s. They ran an advert that said nobody ever got fired for buying IBM. So for every IT manager, it was just like, right, there's lots and lots of different options out there. Nobody ever got fired for buying IBM. I can have that conversation with my boss. So credibility, especially for small businesses. Big businesses have it by default because their brands are credible, their balance sheets, they're publicly listed or whatever. Small businesses need to work really, really hard to prove that they're still going to be around. One of the more controversial elements around that is right now there's a massive focus on startups. People love calling themselves startups because it's a very cool thing to do. Ironically, that just destroys all your credibility because outside of that small tech bubble, nobody thinks startups are good. No big business wants to work with a startup because most startups fall over. And so all these people that happily define themselves as startups are actually destroying all their credibility. And if you see most serious business people, even if they started the business yesterday, they won't talk about the fact it's a startup. They'll talk about the fact they've been planning it for years, they're partnering with these guys, they've got this advisor on. They'll do anything they can to move away from the fact that they're only a day old.
Yeah, it's funny how people kind of pocket themselves like that without even realizing it, and then the people that get it, obviously, if you said they're talking about all the thought process and the years of experience that they've had. So where do you see the future of partnerships going?
So I think partnerships are going to become more and more important. I think we're moving, a good friend of mine, someone you know, Daniel Priestley, talks about entrepreneur revolution, and that's this this change from mass faceless corporations into lots and lots of smaller businesses that's happening at the moment. And when you've got these lots and lots of small businesses, the only way they can compete is to partner with each other. The only way that they can really start to create leverage in the world is through partnerships. So I think it's fundamental to the growth of businesses, and I think it's the more people understand the fundamental principles behind partnership, the easier it is for everyone to play the game.
Absolutely. And so on a more practical level then, okay, we understand partnerships are good, partnerships are important. We want to get a meeting with someone, we want to network with someone. What do we do? How do we get in that room?
Yeah, so it's a big question. So again, what tends to happen is people go straight to the person that they really want to do the partnership with. So the marketing director of a big FTSE 100. Now the problem with these guys is they're incredibly popular. Everyone wants to get to them, and they're only going to have meetings with people that can serve them. And even if you think you can serve them, they probably don't know about that. So it's really about starting to prove yourself, starting to create value for them in other ways, starting to understand what they need, who might already know them, who you can connect with, where you can start to create value, and just starting to build up. And like I mentioned before, if you do this right, what happens is they will have heard about you from 3 or 4 other people, and then they want to talk to you because they can see how you can create value for them. Much easier to have that conversation when they've come to you. So I will work incredibly hard to create enough value that people will approach me. The other advantage with doing that is just by virtue of going out and talking to lots and lots of people, you end up with lots and lots of options. Oftentimes I see entrepreneurs that are pinning all of their hope on this one deal, this one partnership that could transform their business. And it doesn't matter how good they are at acting, they ultimately sit in that meeting coming across as really needy, because their whole focus is on, I've got to do this deal, I've got to do this deal. And nobody likes meeting the needy person. So when you get out there, when you meet lots of people, when you understand how you can create value for lots of people, suddenly you get lots and lots of options, and then that one big kind of white whale doesn't seem as important anyway. And it's always when they're not that important that they offer you the best deals anyway.
I like that. So a numbers game, really. It's just about getting out there, doing lots of repetition, meeting lots of different people. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also about understanding people's needs. Like, I think many people go into partnerships knowing exactly what they want out of the partnership, but not understanding how they create value for others.
Yeah.
One of the techniques that we talk about in the book is doing deals that people can't say no to. And the reason for doing this is it really forces you to start to understand what other people are looking for and how you can create value for other people. And if you speak to top entrepreneurs, they never talk about what they want. They always talk about how they can create value for others, because that's what creates attraction. Everyone wants to have that value. So it's a different mind shift, but it's a really, really important one if you want to create successful partnerships.
Absolutely. Okay, so what is knowledge without a little bit of action? So Callum and I have a challenge for you.
Yes, we do. So the challenge is this. Over the next week or so, go out and pitch a partnership to 3 or 4 different companies, and pitch it in a way that they can't say no. So in effect, you're going to be Father Christmas. You're going to go and you're going to do deals that help other people. You're not going to get anything back from it. Now, this is really counterintuitive if you're an entrepreneur, because you're always looking at it as in what's in it for me. But just the process of doing that over the course of a week will really give you a good eye-opener into how you can create more value for people. So go out, do 3 or 4 deals where the person can't say no because there's such a good offer that you're giving them.
Thank you. I like that challenge. I think it's good. So if you do take that challenge, please do share with us maybe what you pitched and how it went. And of course, check out Callum's amazing book. So thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We hope you learned something today so you can live more consciously tomorrow.